The winning blueprint presents.
In the lab room.
Ah! I scream in victory. I scream in defeat. But only the taste of victory can be this sweet. Welcome, my friends. I am the Warpath Warrior, here to talk to you about all things Redskins. Over the past weekend, we watched a new era in Redskin football begin. Robert Griffin III, our new quarterback, new franchise quarterback, came in and did something many, including myself, did not think he was capable of doing. Go into the Superdome and quiet the dome to a hush and knock Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints out in their own stadium. No team was able to do it all last year in the 2011 season. But the unflappable, unfazed rookie quarterback Robert Griffin III went in and led his Redskins to a victory. So we start there and we move forward and talk about everything that happened in the game. How beautiful was it to see the Redskins come onto the field on defense first and get a 3-and-out on Drew Brees and the Saints. Who saw that coming? Can't say that I did. They go out confidently, 3 plays, 3-and-out. Get the football, first possession of Robert Griffin III's career, and we screen them to death. Screen left, screen right, screen left, screen right, screen right, screen left. They couldn't stop it all the way down the field, setting up a field goal to start out the game. What was interesting about that was it was a precursor to what was going to happen next. However, the fan in me was still disappointed with that drive because as impressive as it was and as confusing as it was to the Saints, we still only came away with 3 points. On the very next possession by the Saints, that ensuing possession, they go down quickly. Jimmy Graham looks impressive as they go right down the field and get 7. My immediate first thought was, that's the difference between them and us. We kick field goals, they get touchdowns. But was I wrong. The ensuing possession, the Redskins get the ball, and on the first play of the possession, Robert Griffin III strikes with Pierre Garçon for an 88-yard touchdown pass. Something that we haven't seen in Washington probably for the last 5 years since the emergence of Santana Moss when he first arrived here in Washington. We don't make big plays in the passing game. We don't run after the catch in the passing game. And it was a beautiful sight to see Pierre Garçon catch it in stride, get his feet, run, and couldn't be caught from behind by Patrick Robinson, the Saints defender, on the play. 88-yard scamper. The only bad thing about that play was the fact that Pierre Garçon hurt his foot on the play and couldn't come back. but he left us a gift on his way out of the door. And so the Redskins took the lead 10-7. What was evident on that touchdown pass was that first drive with all those screens for Robert Griffin III, they settled him down. They got him comfortable. They got the jitters out, and they reminded him that it was just a football game, and all he had to do was go out and execute. And so it made everything easy for him. I don't think there was a better way that the Redskins could have started that game than the quick pass. Get it out of his hands, get it completed to a receiver, and let them do the rest. And let him feel comfortable. Let him get a few completions under his belt and relax. And that's exactly what that first drive served as. And it led to that second drive and everything thereafter for the remainder of the game. He was comfortable. He was poised in the pocket. He exhibited arm strength. He exhibited escapability in the pocket. He exhibited everything you ask for from a quarterback that's mobile and then some. He made plays. He extended plays. He made plays when he was in the pocket. He made plays outside of the pocket. He made plays with his legs. He made plays with his arms. He did it all in this game. And the beautiful thing about Robert Griffin III and what I saw in the preseason that I wasn't sure about at first was his ability to escape and make something happen thereafter. I was wondering, did he have the ability to make people miss with sudden changes in direction in the pocket when he really didn't have time to react? You know, when you turn your back to the defense and you turn around and there's a defender bearing down on you, what do? Do you fall down or do you make him miss and then try to make something happen? And Robert Griffin III can make that first defender miss more times than not. And he did it in this game, extended the play. I thought probably one of the most beautiful plays of this game was on a bootleg. Robert Griffin III rolled out, had pressure, had a wide open receiver or fullback in the flats. Of course, that fullback being Darrell Young, and he was wide open in the flats. He could have took that and got a nice chunk, but instead he declined for something bigger, something greater. And he stiff-armed the would-be tackle of safety, Malcolm Jenkins, and proceeded to take another step or two and off of his back foot, heave the football 40 yards across the field all the way to the sideline to a wide open Fred Davis who was pushed out of bounds. A spectacular play and just a display of pure athleticism and arm strength. I heard Bill Polian say that in watching Robert Griffin III, he possesses elite arm strength, top 5 arm strength in the league. He also said that he has one of the quickest, if not the quickest, releases in the NFL. Both were on display in this game. He said it was Marino-like. I don't know if it's quite Marino-like, but it is very, very fast. And his arm is very, very strong. And his accuracy is very, very pinpoint. And all these things combined makes you an elite quarterback. Now, is he that yet? We don't know. But games like this make it hard to deny the fact that he has the potential to be an elite quarterback in this league very, very quickly. As we move on throughout the course of the game, the Redskins defense continued to play solid defense against this New Orleans Saints offense. Very impressive, in fact. D'Angelo Hall looked very comfortable in the slot, blitzing on many occasions and actually hitting home on one occasion as well. I love D'Angelo Hall in the slot. Maybe even more surprising than D'Angelo Hall's success in the slot was the play of Cedric Griffin out wide. After watching him in the preseason, I was convinced there was no way that Cedric Griffin could play out wide consistently throughout the course of a ball game, let alone a 16-game season out wide, and not get torched repeatedly. Now, mind you, the Saints don't have an elite receiver. They have a collection of receivers who form an elite passing game, but they do not have one elite receiver. So while Cedric Griffin looked great on Sunday, let's not get too carried away with his performance. Still, credit must be given when credit is deserved, and Cedric Griffin had a stellar game. As so did Dijon Gomes, who deserves a game ball for his performance on Sunday. He was excellent. I'm so proud of Dijon Gomes because he was thrust into action. Tenard Jackson being suspended for substance abuse, Brandon Merriweather being absent for 2 to 4 weeks with a sprained MCL. Someone needed to step up, and Dijon Gomes answered the call. Very proud of his play and very proud that we have another safety that we can rely on to come in when needed and give us some quality snaps. I do not, however, like the play of Madu Williams, and I've already said that he's fine being on the team, but he cannot participate in a starting capacity. If that is necessary, then you will be in trouble. This was very much the case on Sunday. As you saw, he was lost on that touchdown pass that Drew Brees threw on 4th down to Lance Moore. He had no clue where the football was. He had a moronic, defenseless receiver personal foul penalty in the 4th quarter, and for some reason thought that it was funny, which was an idiotic penalty. It did not help the cause. And this was on a possession where the Saints were struggling to move the football. And he was beat on several other occasions, including a pass interference penalty that he was flagged for. So he was busy causing havoc for this Redskins defense. But nonetheless, we were able to still come away with the victory. Probably the only couple of disappointing parts in the first half of the game was the call that the referees made when they said that the ball or the forward progress of the runner, in this case the receiver, had been stopped and it was not a fumble. The Redskins forced a fumble. London Fletcher reached in, forced a beautiful fumble, and the referees said that the forward progress of the receiver was stopped, which was asinine. However, it's a non-reviewable play, and so there was nothing that we could do about it. Also, in the first half, we all know about the block punt that happened that allowed the Saints to stay in the ball game. But let's rewind for a second. Yes, the block punt was a mental lapse, a mental breakdown by the special teams unit. But what preceded that block punt was a lack of aggression on the part of the Redskins coaching staff to put the dagger in the Saints. The Redskins received the ball with well over a minute and 20 seconds left in the first half, 2 timeouts, and elected to run the football. There was plenty of time, and the Redskins offense to this point had not punted the football yet. There was no reason to not attack this Saints defense and continue to try to stockpile points. Instead, the Redskins were content with going to halftime with a 20-7 lead. which was not safe. You're never safe when you play Drew Brees and that New Orleans Saints offense. But for some reason, we thought that we were safe, that 20 points was enough in the first half. And so we elected to go to halftime with a 20-7 lead. Well, the Saints had other plans. And that is one of my problems in the first half. The fact that the Redskins coaching staff did not go for the dagger. Great teams go for the dagger in that instance. They go and look to score more points. Instead, we wanted to sit on a lead that wasn't safe. If we want to take the next step as an organization, as a franchise, as a team, we need to look to score on every single possession. That includes the possession before the half, especially if there's plenty of time, especially if the offense is clicking, especially if you have timeouts to which to do so. That was a mistake on our part, one that needs to be corrected, and moving forward, one that needs to be addressed, as we need to continue to be aggressive all the way until the end of the first half. And maybe block punts don't happen. So you can blame the block punt if you want. I delved a little deeper. I blamed the coaching staff for not being aggressive and going after that weak, vulnerable Saints defense once again, as the Redskins had done on the 4 previous possessions prior to that possession when they had to punt. And so, looking at that first half, the Redskins were dominant in every facet of the game. Defensively, offensively, yardage. The Redskins dominated in every facet of the game except special teams. That one blunder before the half cost the Redskins 7 points and made the game a lot closer. But this is why I always say teams should take the ball after halftime. If you win the toss, elect to defer till after the half. Because nothing is more important to me than scoring out of the gate in the second half. You can have your first half or opening game touchdown. You can have that. That can be erased. Hard to erase a touchdown after halftime to come out, especially when you already have a lead. Hard to come back from that deficit once it is established. So Redskins took the ball after halftime and put together a masterful drive, aided by a pass interference penalty that was questionable at best. Nonetheless, we'll take it, and we scored 7 from it. Good teams take shots down the field. Good teams are aggressive with their shots down the field. Good teams are aggressive in fourth and short. The Redskins did all of these things in this game on that drive, and it yielded 7 points. The Redskins scored 10 points in each of the 4 quarters, yielding 40 points. Rare for the Redskins to score 40 points, something they haven't did since the 2005 season. 40 burger, 40 burger, 40 burger, 40 burger, 40 burger. We don't give out many of those. Normally, we're the recipient of 40 burgers. If we're in any part of a 40 burger, we're usually the ones getting it, not giving it. Felt good to put 40 points on someone's head. The Redskins harassed Drew Brees all day. Constant pressure, especially from the line and from Ryan Kerrigan, who was magnificent in this game, constantly beating the tackles off the ball and forcing false start penalties because they tried to stay in front of him. Arakpo did his part to get pressure as well. And this Redskins defense, when not getting to Drew Brees, did the next best thing. Put their hands up and deflected passes. They did a great job of doing this throughout the course of the game, frustrating Drew Brees and making it hard for him to get the football in the hands of his targets. And I think that pressure and the ability of the Redskins defensive line and linebackers to get their hands up and deflect footballs, I think that played a part in Drew Brees being inaccurate and high on a lot of his throws, including the interception that happened later in the game to Dijon Gomes. It's amazing what pressure and disruption can do to a quarterback, especially one of Drew Brees' caliber, who did not complete 50% of his passes for the first time since 2005. That's how good the Redskins defense was, mixed in with a combination of drops by the Saints receivers. This Redskins defense deserves a game ball as well for their play against Drew Brees and his Saints offense. They held them down, and they held them down repeatedly throughout the course of the game. With all that being said, if you are a Redskins fan, as of course I am, then you never felt comfortable. You never felt like this football game was over. You always knew Drew Brees was going to make this game interesting. As a Redskin fan, you wanted to see the Redskins close a team out and not have to make the fans, the coaching staff, and everyone else watching sweat it out. You wanted to see them finish off a good football team. Put the dagger in them, step on their necks, and finish the job. But as only the Redskins can, we found a way to allow the Saints to stay in the game. Countless fourth down plays were converted. We would play fabulous defense for 3 downs, allow the Saints to convert on 4th down. One ultimately ending up in a touchdown pass on Madu Williams in the end zone to Lance Moore for a score that would have essentially ended the game had we gotten a stop. Later on in the game, Brian Orakpo had an opportunity to end the game. And I spoke about this when talking about other teams like the Cleveland Browns, who had a chance to beat the Philadelphia Eagles but could not hold on to the football to clinch the game. Redskins had the same scenario, had an opportunity to stop the game, end it at that very moment with a turnover, but could not seize that opportunity by holding on to the football. Brian Orakpo played beautiful coverage on a post route over the middle of the field. Turns around and the ball is right there in his hands. All he has to do is squeeze. Instead, he drops the football. 3 plays later, the Saints are in the end zone. Touchdown. Or excuse me, 4 plays later, the Saints are in the end zone. Touchdown. Nonetheless, let's back up a second and give more kudos to Logan Paulson. I love Logan Paulson. How big of a catch in a play was that? Robert Griffin III completing a post route to Logan Paulson on 2nd down over the middle of the field to eat up some more clock and get a 1st down. The thing about this Redskins team and about this Saints team is that every second is precious with this Saints football team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They can score in a matter of seconds. And so every second that we took off that clock was precious. And that completion to Paulson really did damage to the clock and really cemented this victory for the Redskins. We weren't out of the woods yet, but without that play, without that completion, the Saints have as good as any chance of coming back and tying this game and winning this ball game. But instead, Logan Paulson not only makes the reception, but drags three Saints defenders for extra yardages. He ate up more precious time and gave the Redskins more yardage with which to play with to punt for Sab Rocca and that special teams unit. What a huge play that was. The Redskins were brilliant in this game, all in all. You look at the scoreboard and you see 32 points given up and you think that the Redskins didn't play well on defense. Au contraire, my friend. The Redskins defense was outstanding throughout the course of this game. And if not for a few blunders and misplays by guys in the secondary, mainly Madu Williams, this score may not have been as close as it was. And this defense still deserves kudos. No matter what the scoreboard says, this defense played, as Joe Gibbs would say, they played their guts out. Nothing can be taken away from the performance of this defense. The offense was stellar, posting 40 points on the scoreboard and giving this Redskins defense a chance to have space and a lead to which they could play with and blow, give up scores and be aggressive and not have to worry about losing the game, but only securing a victory. This was a total team effort, a great win by the Redskins. And yes, they got help from the Saints. They had turnovers. Drew Brees threw 2 interceptions. Marcus Colston fumbled the football. So Redskins did have help. The Saints had 12 men on the field on a pivotal 4th down play where the Redskins were about to punt. They had 12 men on the field. Redskins retained possession, ate up more time off the clock. These are all keys to the game. But everything was forced. Every issue was forced by this Redskins ball club, whether it was the offense putting pressure on that Saints defense or the Redskins defense putting pressure on that Saints offense. Either way, the Redskins as a team forced the issue. They were the better team on Sunday, and they got the victory because of it. Let's hope that the Redskins can continue to build off of this monumental victory in Week 1. This is a big test coming up in Week 2. Every year we play the Rams, and every year we play down to the level of the competition of the Rams. Last year we should have beaten the Rams 30-0. Instead, we had to sweat out a 17-10 victory. If you want me to believe that this Redskins team has a shot to be for real and contend for an NFC East championship, dispose of the Rams if you have the opportunity to do so. Look impressive against this St. Louis Rams team who almost upset the Detroit Lions in Week 1. Come out, be aggressive, do the things that you did to New Orleans, to these Rams, and put them away if the opportunity presents itself. We'll be watching. I'll be watching. We'll all be watching. I'll see you next week. I am the Warpath Warrior, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskin spirit will never die. My Redskin spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, my friends, take care and hail to the Redskins.
I am the